I tried touching grass for 24 hours. I left my house bright and early at 8 a.m., turned my phone and my headphones off, and at 8 a.m. the next morning, I was still away from home, still outside my comfort zone, touching grass. And my phone was off the entire time. I didn't check social media, I didn't listen to podcasts. It was just me out there in the world using my own eyes and ears to take in the world around me and using my own bare feet to literally touch grass. That's right, that title is not clickbait. I literally touched grass, but also figuratively, I touched grass. It's funny, no matter how many times people leave comments telling me to get out more, just touch grass, bro. Just get out of the house and talk to people. I get that advice all the time, but then whenever I do touch grass, it always goes about as well as I expected. I mean, this past 24 hours had it all. I got randomly insulted by a black woman at Cracker Barrel. I had several awkward interactions. And just when I started to feel like, maybe touching grass was worth it, maybe this is good for me. Soon as that thought starts to enter my head, nope, I get smacked right back to reality and reminded that I am an excess male. My presence in the world is just an inconvenience to most people. So I went on a trip with my mom and my baby cousin. I'm still here, by the way. I'm sitting in the hotel bathroom right now. As of now, it has been 25 hours since I started touching grass. And let me tell you, not really worth it. First of all, I didn't want to come on this trip. I think it's been probably about 10 years since I actually spent the night somewhere that wasn't the place I was currently living. But you guys keep telling me I need to touch grass, and my mom wanted me to come help watch the baby, so here I am. And I decided to challenge myself just because why not? So that's why I decided to not use any technology or entertainment devices for 24 hours, which honestly wasn't that hard. It was kind of boring when I was just riding in the car, but actually it was kind of nice. Just sitting there, letting my mind go blank. It was peaceful. The place we went to isn't really close to where I live. It took us a few hours to drive there. So after a couple hours on the road, we stopped at a rest stop. And that's when I had the idea, I'm doing the touching grass for 24 hours challenge. I should literally touch grass just so I can say I did. Simple, right? Just step in the grass real quick. What even could go wrong? Well, fellas, turns out stepping in the grass with your bare feet at a rest stop is actually not a good idea. I found that out the hard way. At first, it felt pretty nice. I think they had just mowed the grass the day before, probably. It was nice and soft. So I stepped into the grass with both feet. Then I was just standing there, grounding myself to the earth or whatever, just touching grass. Then I thought, hey, why don't I take a few more steps? Go above and beyond. Walk around on the grass a little bit. So I did that. I took 2 or 3 more steps. Then I stepped in dog shit. And that was actually one of the better parts of the last 24 hours, unfortunately. But we'll get to all that soon. But yeah, I stepped right into a huge steaming pile of dog duty with my bare foot. I couldn't help but laugh when it happened because it's like, here I am literally touching grass, and I can't even get through that without the universe reminding me that I'm sub 5. It's like I have a guardian angel, but the opposite. It's always there looking out for me, trying to make sure that nothing ever goes my way. Oh, how's that grass feeling between your toes? Feeling good? Okay, well, now step in this. I thought maybe it was just mud at first, but no, it smelled bad. And it's not easy to clean that crap off when you're not at your house. If you're at your house and you step in a dog pile, what do? You probably spray your foot off with the hose and then you go wash it off with soap and water in the bathtub. But I didn't have access to a hose or anything, obviously. So I just went into the rest stop bathroom and I reached my foot up into the sink. So I was standing there on one leg like a retarded flamingo, trying to wash my foot off with the hand soap. And people are looking at me like they think I'm on PCP or something. Then when I finished, as I was walking out, I slipped because, my foot was all wet. So I fell hard on the side of my hip on the cement floor, and there was a family that was just walking into the rest stop. Perfectly timed, right when they're walking in, I was basically in the doorway of the bathroom when this happened, so I slipped and fell hard right on my hip, which still hurts. Probably the worst I've ever just slipped and fell without being on skates or anything. But yeah, these people saw me. It was a mom with her 2 daughters. I fell and busted my ass right there in the bathroom entrance as they were coming in. They all paused for a second like they're concerned. Then they all laughed. They just laughed. They were trying not to, like they were trying to hold back the laughter, but they all laughed, including the mom. But the mom was like, she was telling the kids, like, don't laugh. Just go to the bathroom. Don't laugh. But, that's fine. It probably was funny from their perspective. A bald, barefoot man just slipped and fell at the rest stop. It is pretty funny sometimes when someone falls. They thought they were just walking into another identical, boring rest stop along the interstate. Then, surprise, welcome to the Sub 5 Circus. Now featuring loser maxing the Sub 5 Clown. Watch as he permanently damages his hip for your amusement. But seriously, I don't care that they laughed. I'm sure I'll be fine. It does hurt. I got a pretty nasty bruise on the side of my hip. So that's how the trip started. I tried to touch grass and I stepped right into some shit. I should have taken that as a warning, but I figured surely it couldn't get any worse. Well, about an hour after that, we stopped to eat at Cracker Barrel, and that was fine. My cousin was being adorable. He kept saying pancake to anyone that came near us. And by the way, to all of y'all that leave comments insulting my intelligence, calling me an idiot or a moron, I'll have you know, I played the peg game, and I only had 1 peg left at the end. I know all you Eurocells probably don't know what I'm talking about, but basically there's a restaurant over here called Cracker Barrel, and they have an IQ test on every table, and I aced that test. But seriously, Cracker Barrel was mostly fine. The food was bad, of course, as it always is, but my cousin was having fun playing with all the toys. I bought him a stuffed animal. So then we were just standing there in the gift shop waiting for my mom to come out of the bathroom, and this black lady walked in from outside, and she was immediately like, "Oh my God, that's a beautiful baby. Oh my God, it's a boy or a girl?" So I was like, "He's a boy." Then she goes, "Oh, he's a heartbreaker. Where is daddy at? I know you ain't his daddy." So I was like, he's my cousin." And she just goes, "Oh, that explains it. That make a lot of sense." Then she just walked over and started talking to the hostess. So the only way I can interpret what she said is that she thinks I couldn't possibly be the father because I'm too ugly. Which, in all fairness, she was correct. He is a very adorable toddler, and I am not a very adorable man. But I would think most people would just assume I'm his dad because we have the same color hair. He's not mixed race or anything. He does look like he could be my kid. So the only explanation for this lady being like, "I know you ain't his daddy," it could only be that she just thinks I'm too ugly to have a cute toddler. I don't even think she realized she was insulting me. She said it so casually, like it's just a fact. It's a fact. It's like saying the ground is down or the sky is up. It's just a fact. I didn't even notice at first just because the way she said it was so smooth. Like she just said it so normal. But what a fucked up thing to say to a complete stranger. Just, "Wow, what a cute baby. I know you're not his dad." I mean, why even say that? Probably just wanted to make sure I didn't try hitting on her, I guess. Because I can't think any other reason why you just insult someone like that. Or maybe she just said it because that's the thought that naturally came to her. And since I am an unattractive man, there's no consideration for my feelings. You know, the average person, especially women, they don't have any consideration for an average guy. You know, they only have consideration for guys that they find attractive. That's just how it is. So that's how my day of touching grass was going so far. Not even 6 hours into the day, I already stepped in crap and got insulted for my looks, that was very random. Like, she just walked in from the outside and immediately just, oh my God, that's a beautiful, like, she just couldn't keep it in. And then, the insult came with that. So yeah, this is all within 6 hours of leaving my house. That's how quickly stepping in crap and getting insulted happened. But it's not really that big a deal. I washed my foot. My cousin was having a good time. Oh, and I forgot to mention, before we ate, we played checkers for a little bit, or we played with the checkers, and we've been working on colors with my cousin. So I was telling him, this is a red one. This is a black one. I don't know why, but sometimes my cousin, he's about 2 years old, by the way. Sometimes he just really takes to a certain word or a certain phrase and he'll repeat it a lot. So he was doing that with black one. After I showed him a black checker and I was like, this is a black one. He just kept pointing at things and saying, black one, black one. But he did understand it, I think, because when we were eating, there was a black speck on one of the pancakes and he pointed at it and he said, black one. So I'm pretty sure he understood the meaning, or he at least kind of understood. Okay, fast forward a couple hours. We get to our hotel. We checked in. I pushed my cousin around in the luggage cart. We rode the elevators up and down. It was those kind of elevators they have at hotels sometimes where it's all glass and you can see out. So that was fun. But I guess they're doing renovations on the hotel. So there's workers everywhere just drilling and hammering. They're redoing the carpet on the stairs, so I can't use the stairs, even though usually I would take the stairs instead of the elevator. But they weren't working at night, which is good. But already this morning, I could hear them using power tools from my room, so that's annoying. But yeah, we were only at the hotel for a few minutes. Then we went to the main attraction that was the main reason for this whole trip, the aquarium. The aquarium was really nice. It was actually way more impressive than I expected. Unfortunately, what happened at the aquarium wasn't really nice. I'll talk about that in a minute. But man, oh man, it was just like when I went to the zoo the other day. It's like happy couples, happy families, yoga pants everywhere. If you ever want to become just hyper aware of how lonely you are, then go to a zoo or an aquarium. And by the way, I don't know if this is just the popular style right now or what, but all day, everywhere I went, there was so many goth chicks. The hostess at Cracker Barrel was goth. One of the hotel workers was goth. This one girl at the aquarium gift shop was very goth. There's actually 2 goth girls at the 2 aquarium gift shops, but this one of them, I'm not really into that style, by the way, but I was just surprised they let her work there. Because she had a piercing that's like on the top of the bridge of her nose, between her eyes. And of course, her hair was purple or blue or something, and she was covered in tattoos. So it was just, I don't know, it's weird seeing a person like that working in customer service anywhere. It's just like, you look like a freak show. But I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I don't know if a man with that style could get hired for the same job. Probably not. But who knows, maybe they could. But anyways, right when we first got there, that's when the problem started. So my mom got a phone call right before we went in, so me and my cousin went in first. So after they scanned our tickets, there was yet another goth girl there that was like, okay, go stand against that wall. So I didn't know what she was getting at. I knew she worked there, but I didn't know why she was telling me to go stand against the wall. Because it was like the whole wall was this big screen with animations of fish and everything. So I thought, okay, maybe this is some kind of interactive game or something, and she's going to have us do something where we touch the screen and something happens. So I went over to the big screen and I was standing in front of it holding my cousin, but I was facing toward the screen because I thought we're doing something on this screen. Then after a few seconds, I hear the girl just goes, Ryan. Then the guy that scanned my ticket was like, sir, sir. So I looked and he was like, sir, you need to face toward the camera. So then I turned around and yeah, I guess the big screen is just a backdrop for the pictures they try to sell you for $50. So there I was just facing against the wall like a retard when they're trying to take my photo. In my defense, she never said she was going to take a picture. She just said, go stand against the wall. And of course, she was laughing the whole time while she's taking my picture. So, whatever. She took the picture, she gave me the little postcard thing. So then the ticket guy told me something like, go straight ahead and go up the escalator. So I walked forward, and straight ahead was just this little staircase going down. So I went down the stairs, and it was just like, I was in the back rooms, basically. Like, there was a few doors that looked like they were only for employees. There wasn't anything labeled aquarium entrance or enter here or anything like that. So I looked around for a few minutes because the guy said to go up the escalator, but there was no escalator down there. It wasn't busy at all, by the way. Nobody else was coming in, so I couldn't just see where other people were going. So I walked back over to the picture girl because she was the closest employee, and I started to ask her where I'm supposed to go, but all I got out was, excuse me, and she was immediately like, Ryan, can you help? Because, I guess yeah, I'm a scary sub 5 man, she doesn't want to speak to me directly. She just immediately calls this other guy over. So the ticket guy walked over again and he just looks at me and he's just like, yeah. So I asked him where the entrance is and he just pointed over to the side. And I looked where he was pointing and sure enough, over there, completely out of the way, was a big escalator. The way the guy reacted, he looked so frustrated that I had to ask where the escalator is, as if it's not weirdly off to the side. You would think you walk into a door entering a place, everything's lined up kind of in a straight line, pointing you straight forward. You get your ticket scanned, you get the picture taken. If you continued walking straight forward, you go down this little set of stairs and there's nothing there. You're in the back rooms. But what you're supposed to do after you get your picture taken is take a very sharp right and go over to the dark corner of this room, and that's where the entrance is, at an escalator. They had one sign with an arrow but it wasn't very clear. So I'm walking over to the escalator and I hear this goth picture girl, she's laughing and she says something like, how do they miss it every time? It's like right there. Tee. I don't know. Maybe it's just a poorly designed entrance. You goth bitch. I'll cut that part out. Whatever. Not a big deal. I'm used to people laughing at me, especially, these young ladies like this goth girl that they have taking the picture there. I'm used to people laughing at me. I'm used to doing awkward things, little faux pas. I'm used to walking into a place, a novel situation, and not knowing what the hell to do and just kind of freezing or having to ask someone, like, what am I supposed to do? I'm used to it. That's what happens when I touch grass. So anyways, we went up the escalator, we got into the aquarium, and at that point, we were having fun after that. My cousin was having a blast. I was enjoying it too because it is pretty cool to see all the big fish and everything. They had some animals there too. So eventually we get to this big tank that has like 100 different kinds of fish and turtles. And we were sitting there looking, And every time any kind of dark colored fish swam by, my cousin would point at it super excited and he'd go, black one, black one. Like he was just really hyped up to be using this new phrase he learned. So we were having a good time just watching the fish, trying to spot all the black ones. Then after a while, my mom caught up with us. So we got up and we kept walking through, looking at all the fish and everything. Then near the end, there's this part where you can go underneath this huge tank that has a bunch of sharks and everything in it. So the way it's set up, it's kind of like you're walking through a cave. And then at certain parts, there'll be windows you can look through, either above you or to the sides. It even has like these little tunnels you could crawl through. Or I think the tunnels are for kids, but either way, it's pretty cool. So I kind of went off on my own at that part because I just wanted to sit and relax for a second and not have to worry about watching my cousin. Then I turned down this one little opening and I saw there was these little spots where you could lay on your back underneath the tank and basically you'd be inside a little glass bubble looking up. So I started to go to get in one of those bubbles because I thought that might be cool. It'd be like being inside Sandy's house from SpongeBob. But then I saw in the other bubble across from the one I was going to, there was this hot goth girl and her boyfriend just laying in there, making out. And they were like, it was just very inappropriate. Good for them if they're happy, but it's the aquarium. I'm pretty sure the guy had his hand up her shirt too. That's how, like, they were doing way too much. And I had seen this same couple a few times already, and every time I saw them, they were just doing way too much for being at the aquarium. The girl would be sitting on the guy's lap, or he would be standing behind her with his hands wrapped around her hips. And the other thing too, like I said, this girl was very alternative in her style. I'd say her look was goth. She had a lot of piercings and she had the heavy makeup and everything and the black hair. But then the guy that she's doing all this PDA with, he looked like the average frat guy. And I've seen this a million times. I always see these goth alternative style girls, and then every single time, especially when the girl's actually attractive, every single time you see her boyfriend and he's like the stereotypical jock frat boy type. It's almost as if every single female is attracted to the same exact guys. But anyways, I see this couple just making out in the bubble, so I stopped and I was just debating in my head, like, should I just go get in the other bubble anyways? Or should I wait and see if they leave? So I decided to just wait around for a couple minutes to see if they leave, because I didn't really feel comfortable going over too close to them when they're doing all that. So I was just kind of loitering around the corner where I could still see them from a bit of a distance, but I couldn't really make out what they were doing. I could just see that they were still there and I would have been able to see them leave. So I was looking into the fish tank, and then, like, I don't know, 20 feet away maybe, they were there in their bubble inside the tank. So after about a minute, I see them exiting the bubble. Then I started to walk over to it. And when they passed me, they kind of went past me holding hands. And the guy was like, "Hope you got a good look, bud." And the girl just laughed. Like, it's already inappropriate to be doing public displays of affection in the frickin' aquarium where kids go to learn about sea anemones and octopi. But to then accuse me of watching you as if you weren't laying down dry humping inside a bubble, literally inside the main fish tank of the whole aquarium, obviously people are going to see what you're doing when you're doing it out in public like that. It's bad enough just to have to see young people being all affectionate like that, experiencing the things I know I will never get to experience. But don't be rude about it. You don't have to be rude about it. I wasn't trying to look. I wasn't watching them. I just wanted to go lay in one of the bubbles myself for a second, so I could feel like I'm inside Sandy's house at Bikini Bottom in an episode of SpongeBob. I wanted that immersive SpongeBob experience that they were wasting, by the way. They were just in there because they felt like it was a somewhat private area for them to be very inappropriate in. And it does suck, it seems like little things, all these things I'm talking about, all these things that happened in the past 24 hours. I understand these are all minor little inconveniences. A woman insulted me there at Cracker Barrel. These people, accuse me of watching them make out here at the aquarium. It's like, these are all little things if you look at it individually, but man, it all adds up. And this is the type of thing, I swear, every time I go out. So yeah, that happened. And, it was just couples all over that place and families with kids. I know, obviously, I'm going to have to see happy couples sometimes when I leave the house, and that's fine, but I don't want to surround myself with that. But, whatever. For the most part, I did have a good time at the aquarium up until right before we left. That's when we just about got kicked out for being racist to the gift shop employee, who was also a goth chick, by the way, a black goth chick. Very rare, the rarest type of goth chick. This was a different goth girl gift shop employee, by the way. I think I already mentioned the other one that had the weird piercing between her eyes. But there was actually 2 different gift shops, and luckily they had enough goth girls on staff to man both of them. I don't know what I would do if I had to go to a gift shop at the aquarium and there was no goth girl there. So each gift shop had its own goth girl. But anyways, yeah, so we finished with all the exhibits that the aquarium has to offer, and then we're in the gift shop, and we're gonna buy the little guy this pack of toy sea creatures. So I was holding him, and my mom is paying for the toys, and there's one girl ringing my mom up, and this other girl, the black goth girl, is waving at my cousin, smiling at him. Then I don't know if he meant this literally talking about her, or if there was something she was wearing maybe that he was talking about. I don't know. But my little cousin points at this black goth chick and he goes, "Black one, black one." So I tried to ignore him at first because I was just hoping he'd stop and maybe she wouldn't know what he was saying. I should have known this would happen, but he does this thing where if I don't acknowledge what he says, then he'll just keep saying it louder and louder until I say something, which makes sense. He is a person, he's saying something to me and he expects to be acknowledged, as anyone would. So he just keeps pointing at this girl and he's just shouting, "Black one, black one." So at first she was like, "What? What is he saying?" And I was like, "I don't know." Then I was trying to distract him with his new toys, but he was just laser focused on this girl, just "Black one, black one." He just kept saying it, and he was pointing at her with his finger as he was saying it. So then the girl was like, "Is he calling me black?" And I think everything could have been fine. We could have got out of there scot-free, no harm, no foul. I could have just said, "Never heard him say that before. That's weird." And we could have just left. But I was with my mom, so that's not how it went. As soon as the girl was like, "Is he calling me black?" my mom immediately responded with, "Well, you are black." Which is like, what a stupid thing to say. It's factually true, but obviously people might think you're racist in that situation just saying it like that. So my mom says, "Well, you are black." And then the girl says, "You think I don't know that?" And my mom, being I don't like to use slurs, but my mom, being the Karen that she is, she just perceives this situation like, okay, there's this girl here that's giving me attitude, so I'm going to be a bitch right back. When really the girl didn't even have any attitude until my mom's dumbass thought it would be smart to say, "Well, you are black, honey." And either way, she should just drop it so we can leave. Because when she does this, she's wrapping me and the baby up in it too. And we're just innocent bystanders. So, yeah, the girl says, "Is he calling me black?" My mom says, "Well, you are black." And then the girl says, "You think I don't know that?" So my mom says, "I don't know. You seem a little confused." Then the girl was like, "Oh, I'm not confused at all, but I think you might be." And then I don't know. There was some more back and forth. They were yapping at each other. And remember, this all started because a toddler pointed at this girl and said, "Black one." He probably wasn't even talking about her race. He could have been talking about anything. Because also, he doesn't quite understand what is and isn't black. Sometimes he would point at a bluefish, for example, and he would say black one. So I don't know what he meant. I don't know what, I don't know. Maybe he was just saying that the girl is black, but either way, who cares? He's a toddler. But my mom can't just leave it alone. She found an opportunity for drama and she pounced on it. So my mom and this black goth girl just keep trying to one up each other with their insults, just having the most retarded argument I could ever even imagine. And I could tell we were getting dangerously close to my mom dropping the tactical nuke because she will say it. My mom is not a gamer, but she will say the gamer word if she feels justified. And I know her well enough by now to know that she was starting to feel justified. So I just grabbed her and I started pulling her away and I was like, "Okay, we're leaving now." And that actually worked. So we left. And as we were leaving, it was funny. There was just like this black security guard was just standing there staring at us like like 5 feet away. But he didn't say anything. We left. It was all good. Then we went and we had pizza at some local place that's supposed to be the best pizza ever. It wasn't that good. The waitress was really hot, and I'm pretty sure she never looked me in the eye for even 1 millisecond. Like she was going out of her way to not make eye contact. Then we got back to the hotel and it started raining, but I guess the back door was locked due to renovations. But we had to park in the back because they had half the parking lot blocked off in the front. So we all got rained on, which wasn't pleasant. And then to top it off, we were staying at a hotel chain that's known for always having cookies at the front desk. I'm sure some of you know what I'm talking about. So my mom asked if we could have cookies, and the girl was just like, "We don't have any." And then my mom asked, "Well, will you have some in the morning?" And she said, "I don't know." Like, so we just went back up to the room. So that's what happened when I tried to touch grass for 24 hours. Nothing good came of it. I'm actually still going to be touching grass for all of the next 48 hours at least. Today, my mom's going to be away all day pretty much, so it's just going to be me here with the little guy at the hotel. So I'm going to try to take him to a park or something, or maybe we'll go count goth girls at the local mall. I don't know, but we'll figure something out. I probably won't get this video up until I get back home a few days from now. I don't think I can really do all the video editing and the thumbnail and everything in the hotel room. But yeah, stay tuned. If you enjoyed the video, please consider watching some of my other videos. There's also some secret videos you can watch for free on Patreon, videos YouTube doesn't want you to see. And we also have a private Discord now for Patreon supporters, so check that out if you're interested. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.